E360 TV proudly presents messages of inspirational stories. Live streaming now to millions of devices, including Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, YouTube Live, Facebook Live, with your host, Donna and Jim, producer and host, Jim Grant, producer and host, along with Michaela Vidal, administrator and host, and Gaia Ginwa Balconi Wada, editor-in-chief.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Messages of Inspirational Stories. Jim is in the background playing silly and trying to probably get me to snort, and I'm not doing it today, Jim.
Thursday is non-snorting day, according to Donna.
Right, non-snorting day.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome.
Absolutely. Welcome to the show, but we are talking about one of our favorite subjects.
Mm-hmm.
Pets we love.
That's right. You got to have a little animal in you anyway, you know. But we are so honored to be here with you today and to be able to talk about this. Is a fun show for Donna and me to do because we're animal lovers. And this show, if you're an animal lover, you're at the right place. If not, have a nice day. But sincerely, we're very honored to be brought to you by the 6minutewebinar.com. And we're also very honored to be brought to you by our good friend, Mr. Bill Heinrich, The 7 Levels of Truth. His book is on Amazon. And we want to thank you for joining us today. As we talk about our pets, I just saw Dixie, who I did not put out of the studio, just sneak in. And sooner or later, you'll see me doing this here. And you'll know I'm taking care of Dixie. Yep. Because when she wants attention, she lets me know. She'll come in the morning.
Dixie and Mike Locke.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Dixie likes to come in the morning, and if I hadn't gotten up at 5:30 in the morning, she likes to stand either on my stomach with her 2 front paws or on my side and just look at me like, "Come on, are you alive?" I guess your little paws are checking to see if there's breath in my lungs and heart beating in my veins. But Donna, I tell you, when it comes to our animals, we all enjoy funny stories, don't we?
We do. We do. You know, our animals bring comfort, love, that unconditional love, and peace, right? They bring, for me, my animals bring tranquility, lots of laughter, but they bring tranquility. And I love how no matter how bad a day I've had, that any one of my animals, but especially my dog Jake, he can sense my mood in a half a second, and I'll immediately get the Pyrenees eyes that stare at you, and his big paw comes up, and he does this, with the paw, and that's his hug. And when he was younger, he used to jump. I'd have him jump up on my shoulder and say, "Give me a hug, give me a hug." But he's an old guy now, so I don't have him do that because his hips are too bad. He'll be
sure.
Could be 13 in a couple months, so that's getting pretty old for a giant breed.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's talk about that for a moment, because a lot of people are concerned about their pets. Because let's face it, pets are fur babies. They're part of our lives, big part of our lives. Like Donna said, they give you unconditional love. What are some of the things that you do to enhance and maintain Jake's health since he's an older dog? Would you share that, please?
Since he's been a pup, even before, first of all, I don't use toxic chemicals in my home. Number one, that's huge. Not only for myself, my children, when they were young and at home, and of course, all my animals. So anything that is toxic, understand, folks, that it is literally absorbed into your skin, whether you're a person or a cat, a dog, a rabbit, doesn't matter. It's going to be absorbed into your skin in less than 30 seconds.
Wow. Especially through their pods, right?
Yes, through their paws. And because our animals, of course, are lower to the ground, when you use toxic chemicals,
Oh,
there is such a thing called outgassing. All right.
yeah.
This is horrible.
Hmm.
Outgassing is the chemicals, and they come up and they hit at about a 3 foot level, right? And they just lay there, and we can't see
Mm.
it, but that invisible level of the chemicals just hangs there. And when our children who are young and
Hmm.
our animals walk through that toxic outgassing, what happens? They absorb it
Hmm.
through their
Hmm.
lungs and they
Yeah.
absorb it through their skin. And then, of course, if
Mm.
you're like me, I'm constantly barefoot. So we absorb we
You
absorb it, through our.
were barefoot.
But that's the same thing. Like when you go down the grocery aisle and you
Mhm.
are in the cleaning aisle and you smell all those that kind of really strong smell.
Mm.
That's the
Yeah.
outgassing of all those chemicals coming together. So
Mm.
I'm just a very big proponent on doing the best, getting the best you can of the best of
Yeah.
science and nature combined.
Mhm.
Second, I
That's
feed my animals all extremely high end food.
mhm.
It to me is no different than feeding your children good solid food rather than takeout every day.
Yeah. Or processed foods.
Correct.
Yeah.
I always said when my
Absolutely.
children were young, I'd rather have a grocery bill than a doctor bill.
Mm.
Well,
Amen.
same goes with my animals, Jim. I'd rather
Mhm.
have a food bill than a vet bill.
Mhm. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because when your pets are sick and they're suffering, it affects you. It really does, because they can't tell you what's wrong. And, it's just amazing how we have been so advertised and marketed to about all these, cleaners that you can buy,
Mhm.
that are commercial cleaners, and how, fresher room smells and all that. They can flavor, they can send it any way they want to, not flavor it, but send it any way they want to. But let's face it, it's chemicals like that are not real good for us, is it? Are they?
No, no.
Yeah.
Um, I spend an exorbitant amount on food
Hmm.
and treats. But again, like one of the things I give Jake is it's kind of like a rawhide, if you will, but it's glucosamine chondroitin, right? So it's all really good for him. And he
Hmm.
just, it's a treat and he loves it.
Hmm.
He gets some of those every day. I also give
Oh,
him uh, CBD oil, Jim.
yes, yes.
Right? So I give him
Hmm.
CBD oil, and it helps number one with anxiety, which as he's gotten
Hmm.
older, but it also
Yeah.
helps with his hips because
Yes.
his front legs are really strong, but just because he's a big boy and he's super long, just like
Hmm.
many of us, me included, we have arthritis in our hips. So
Hmm.
I'm very conscientious of him and taking
Hmm.
care of him in that way and doing the best I
Oh,
can.
yeah. Oh, yeah. And when it comes to treats, I mean, Donna is just an excellent treat maker. I mean, even for, humans, I mean, man, she can make all these delicious treats. So, Donna, what's on the menu for the day? We all might want to head over to Donna's house after the show today.
I don't know. Let's see. Sunday, I can tell you I made a Yankee pot roast and an apple pie that'd make your mouth water.
You told me I couldn't slobber on TV, so oh yeah. But I tell you, it's wonderful cook. But the thing, I think the secret ingredient, this is what our grandmas did. This is what our moms did. When they prepared food, and I know Donna does this too, and you ladies out there, and some of you men out there do the same thing. When you prepare food, you add that one secret ingredient that no food processor or manufacturer could add, and that is you make it with hands of love. There's just something about that. I'm a firm believer, ladies and gentlemen. I really believe this, and I mean this in my heart. I believe that when you're making something for someone and you're making it because you love to make it for them, I really believe that enhances the flavor. I
Oh,
really do. I can't prove it, but I believe it. So,
mhm.
yeah. That's
I would
like
agree
the
with
that's like the comedian. He's a funny guy. I can't remember his name, but he was talking about his grandma's always had when she made pie crust, it was always perfect. And he says, Grandma says, how in the world you always make those perfect pie crust around the edges? So they're always perfect every single time, same way. She said, well, I take out my false teeth in them. I might get a snort out of her yet, but
That's
that is
awesome.
really, yeah, I love good humor like that. I really do. And do not visualize that. And I hope I didn't give anybody out there any, what did I think of that?
Oh my gosh. And you just crimp it from both sides with both sets of teeth.
There you go. Just chomp it right on down there.
Oh my
Uh,
gosh.
let's talk about some funny stories about pets because we all love funny stories about pets. And we looked up some information. We're going to share some information. The first pet mentioned was what?
A cat.
Meow. Imagine that.
Right?
You want to kick it off, Donna? Or you want me to?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Um, we love our pets for, like we talked about, multitude of reasons, right? The cuddles are adorable. They keep us active. That's a good one. They keep us active,
Yeah. Yeah.
but they are the world's best comedians, right? They help put a smile on your face every single day. So there's just absolutely all kinds of funny stories, but this one is cats love to wriggle their bodies in all sorts of unfathomable places.
Mhm.
And this one was from a Reddit user. That meant an air duct. We were in the middle of remodeling our house and went out of town for the weekend. We got back and couldn't find the cat. And I realized I had left the ladder leaned up against the wall right below an air duct and saw claw marks around the open duct. I instantly assumed I would be fishing a dead cat out of the wall and succumbed to fail my uh, to my fail by slumping down against it, trying to figure out how to explain to my wife and my 3 year old that I stupidly let our beloved cat to his doom. About that time, he pokes his head out of the duct and meows at me, wanting to help him out. Now, I can
Oh.
tell you that when I lived in Ohio, I had two cats that in the unfinished part of the basement, they could get up into the little bit of crawl space into where the finished part and the unfinished were of
Mhm.
the ceiling on the other side that was finished in the basement. And
Mhm.
I stacked that thing with boxes and damn it, every time I turned around, one of them was in there. And I finally got to the point where I was just fine, come out when you're good and ready. Because I certainly couldn't crawl in there after them unless I tore the
Ah,
ceiling open
cats just love cracks and crevices, and you
and
you get a
boxes and
box in, UPS or whoever drops off a box at your house, and you open it up, and the first thing the cat wants to do is jump in that empty box.
yep.
I mean, that's just the way they are. I mean, it's just amazing the joy that they bring and how cute they are. And I used to, I haven't done it in a while, but I take the bigger boxes and I'll cut a little doorway in there and some windows, and I'll play with the Dixie and all my kitties like that.
Right.
And I got to tell this one story about Tigger. Tigger was a cat that we owned many years ago, about 20 something years ago. And Tigger was I'm trying to think of the name of the cat. You're familiar with it. The Black Panther, well, you've got one,
I've got
you
two
know, yeah,
Bombays.
but Bombays. Yes. Thank you. And I'd never heard of a Bombay cat before. I went to the animal shelter, saw this real cute little kitten sitting there, just kind of like it was poised a little bit. And what got me was the black satin fur, no white hair at all. And I just looked at it and thought, wow, that's really a cute little kitty. So I got it. And well, I didn't know what it was. I just thought it was a black cat. But Bombays have a unique personality, and they are described as a miniature Black Panther.
Hmm.
Well, one day, this is when we still owned our manufacturing business. One day, my son gets in the big truck, a flatbed truck, and he's going to go to the bank and do something. And so he goes over to the bank. That's a plain flatbed truck, as one of our trucks we used in the business. And he goes in the bank, comes back out, and he sees this little kitty sitting underneath the truck, looking at him, around, just on the edge of it. And he says, "Hey, you look, it's Tigger, is that you? How did you get here?" Because she wasn't in the truck with him. Somehow or another, in that truck, she had got up into the frame somewhere and
Hitched a
rode
ride.
a, about 3 miles through town. You know, I mean, how do you explain that when it comes to kitties? My goodness
Right,
gracious!
right.
And it's just amazing how how they are and their personalities, and each one is so unique. That's how special they are, and that's why they're so special to us. And this here is a dog. It was caught. It says caught red pawed. Says you can't blame a dog for trying, and certainly not when they're super cute. This guy, as my significant other and I, have been trying to teach our dog to make less of a mess in our house, specifically to not pull the toilet paper off the roll. Usually that's what cats do.
Cats do, right.
Yeah, yeah. But this dog did. And he says, we weren't sure we'd been making any headway until one day we came home to find that while we had been out, about 2 feet of toilet paper had been unrolled. And here she is all I can imagine. She is playing with it happily, hearing us at the door, thinking, oh crap, and trying to fix up her mess. That was actually pretty impressive, because I had a little poodle one time, and bless her heart, when we go somewhere and we leave her outside, she would dig up our plants. And as soon as we drove in the yard, she was kind of like, oh, I'm so sorry. I couldn't help myself. I'm going like, now what did you do? I go over and all my strawberry plants are dug up. I'm going like, my goodness, and that, if it happened to me now, it probably upset me, but not nearly as much, because back then I was in my 20s. That's when I was young,
Oh,
dumb, and good looking.
right,
Well, young and dumb anyway. I hadn't always been this old and ugly.
right. As
But
we get older, our patience grows a little longer for a lot of things that wasn't
yeah,
there in our
and I
youth.
remember, and to balance that, I remember it gets a little shorter. But I never did beat or anything like that. But I take a newspaper and roll it up a little bit and just smack her, because the noise thought, oh my goodness, I'm getting a beating. And I said, just don't do that. And she never learned. She never learned. So finally, it's just something I just had to accept. And I think she actually did grow out of it, because this is when she was young in her puppy years, first couple of years. But man, that dog could have, if she was a big dog, she was a toy poodle. If she was a big dog, she could have dug a mile long or something. I don't know.
Right.
She was a little digger.
Uh, I love
Because
it. I love it.
when
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, when it comes to your animals, you've had some diggers and you've had some characters, and have you ever
Oh,
had any animal make you want to pull your hair out or something?
no, I haven't. That
Hmm.
they have all had such an amazing personality. We
Hmm.
had a cat that a neighbor couldn't keep, and so we ended up taking it. And I
Wow.
named him Half Stash because he had half a mustache on his markings, right? He was he was white, and he had a little, like, kind of that brown, little bit of tiger stripe kind of
Yeah.
splotches on him,
Yeah.
but he had
Yeah.
half a mustache. So we named him a Half Stash. But his nickname, because if you know me, I nickname everything that I absolutely adore and love. Every one of my cats has a nickname. My dogs he has multiple nicknames. And so his nickname was Manini. Now, I don't know why. I don't even, Manini, difficult. But
Hmm.
that cat was hysterical. He would, if we went out and didn't get home late at night, He would be in the driveway, almost like a parent when a kid comes home late like this, and he'd be
Mhm.
staring at you. And then when you get home, open the garage door, he'd be like, okay, you're home. And
Mhm.
it's past your
Yeah.
bedtime, and I'm really mad at you. And he would flip his tail and he would squish his butt when he walked, doing this number with the tail. And it
Oh
was
yeah.
his way
Yeah.
telling me he was not happy that I
Mhm.
was not home for him at proper time.
They do that. Their body language, they demonstrate how they feel towards you. I mean, I had a feral cat one time that adopted us. And the family, I was the only one, if I went out there and sat down, I was the only one the feral cat would actually get on
Oh,
my lap
wow.
and let me pet her. Yeah, it took a while for her to get to know me, but she
Oh,
did.
yeah.
And I talked to her just like I would all the pets. And then I told her, I says, well, I'll see you tonight. Come home. And she kind of meowed at me. Well, I had to go down to Houston and I got caught on the way back in rush hour traffic. There's no such thing as a rush hour, it's rush hours. It
Right.
goes on for a long, long time. And I didn't get home till about 8:30 or 9 o'clock. It was in the summertime. It was just starting to get dusky dark by the time I got
Mhm.
home. And she's waiting on me. Now, this is a feral cat, ladies and gentlemen. And I came around after I got out of the truck. I walked around the side of the house to the back sidewalk there, going to go into the house. And she was there and she meowed at me and she took her little paw and popped me on the heel like that. I looked at her and I'm all, I don't take my orders from you. And she yelled at me again, like, oh, you told me you said you were going to be home. And her little mind, she probably thought I was out tomcat or something. I don't know.
Right.
But yeah, it's amazing how they get that unique ability that, hey, this is the way everything should fit in my life.
Right.
And they
Right.
expect that. And when dogs don't get that, they also pine away. And
Yeah,
they
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 do.
really they really do. Sometimes I love to see the videos when people are curious about what their animals are doing. So they set up a little in-house camera.
Well, it's kind of funny because when we've gone, like when we got married and then
Hmm.
we went on our honeymoon,
Uh-huh.
um, we had one of our sons come watch the house, take care of the house and all the animals and, water all the plants and what have you.
Hmm.
And we were gone a little over a week.
Hmm.
And Jake has always, always moped. He is the
Hmm.
biggest moper on the planet. And he'll look at you and go, okay, I got to go to the bathroom. Let me pee. And then he'll come back in and he'll eat and he'll lay down and he lays down like this. And then when I come home, we came back and came flying in the house to see him. He jumped up and he's all energetic and woo. And
Hmm.
my husband was taking our son home, and he said, "I just can't believe that's the same dog." When Donna came home, it was like a completely different dog. And my husband said, "Yeah, welcome to my world. That
Yep.
dog literally lives and revolves for that woman, and vice
Yep.
versa." And said,
Hmm.
"I'll take him out and let him go to the bathroom, tell him it's time to come in." And he'll turn around and look at me like, "You're not my mom, and I don't have to listen to you."
Hmm. Oh yeah. It really amazes me how animals can how they feel, how they demonstrate how they feel.
Yes.
And when we lost my son's dog, I tell people I am the retirement home for grandpuppies, and it's true. When my son was in the service, we kept his dog here with us, and he had a heart condition. And him and Dixie, uh, Dixie's she's a correct cat, Korat, and they're from Thailand, and they're small, but they're full of energy. And when after we lost Rudy, who was a red healer, Australian cattle dog, she suffered.
Hmm.
And she would get her toys at night and drag her toys, little string toys we play with her. And she would have it in her mouth and she'd be crying coming down the hallway.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And so now my daughter has her dog up here. It's a cross between a uh, corgi and a chow, black chow.
a
And they
cord
take,
chow?
yeah.
Corgi and a
And
chow, huh?
yeah. So I
That's
guess
interesting combination.
yeah, it is. She's kind of a neat little dog. She's kind of built like a corgi, but she's got the little black tongue and all that, and quite a little character. But Dixie loves her dogs.
Hmm.
And so we've already talked about, well, when
That
we
time
should
comes.
start looking, we should start introducing another little puppy into our house before, we don't want to go through that shock and all. And so debating on, dogs and stuff like that, you know, I love these. There's one dog, they call them a designer breed, and it's a cross between a Pomsky and a Siberian Husky. And they take obviously the male uh, uh, dog and the male Pomeranian, excuse me, couldn't think of the breed there, and made it with the female, Husky. And they are the cutest little things. And Donna, you know the difference between a mixed breed dog and a designer dog?
Nothing.
Oh, yes, ma'am, there is. It's about $800 or more. It's true.
Well,
It's true.
that's
Yeah.
true. That's
Yeah.
true. And it depends on what you're looking for, whether you want,
Yeah. Hmm.
and what your specific reasons are for that.
Yeah. And what your
Uh,
needs are and what you're going to be comfortable with. Because
exactly.
we want a dog that we can travel with because I love Australian cattle dogs. I really do. And, but they're not,
They're high
it's,
energy
yeah, yeah, yeah. They
and they
really
need a
are.
job. They need
Yeah.
a job.
They need
The
space to
difficult
roam
thing,
too.
like for Jim, for you and Evelyn, and as well as us, and obviously I still have Jakey and would never have another dog while he's still with me. But
Right.
as much as I am an advocate for adopting older dogs, I can't in the fact that we have four active cats in our house.
Mm.
And you don't know when you adopt an older dog what their prey drive's actually going to be.
Hmm.
So
Absolutely.
that is something that I have to be very cognizant about,
Hmm.
in that loving and accepting and caring for the animals that we do have.
Yeah. 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 It's there was a story recently. I don't know when it came out or anything like that, but let's see. I'm trying to think here. It was back in January. January the 6th is when this was reported on this day, and it happened in Riverside, California. And
Oh,
there was an 8-year-old pit bull that was thrown over a fence. And as the story goes, it was around a fenced-in area where there's cell towers and all that. And this dog had razor wire on the top. It hit it, but didn't get injured from the razor wire. Anyway, the news crew, the workers there, they found the dog. It had a chip in it. The news crew reported it. They had, I guess, videos set up or cameras set up to where they could actually see what happened. And the good news is about this little dog. There was a lady that saw it and said, I got to have that dog. So she went and rescued that puppy. And so the poor dog, bless his heart, he just really, Donna got a little bit of a communication thing there. So anyway, the poor dog, it showed that the dog just looked and watched its owner, walk away. Oh man, that tears my heart up because even out here in the country where I live, it doesn't happen often, but occasionally you can tell when someone has dropped off a dog. That to me is one of the It was not one of the coldest things you can do, but it's a heartless thing to do. That there's no question about that. And it's so wonderful when people see something like that and say, "Hey, that poor dog needs a loving home." And the lady's just identified as Jennifer, but you can see it. It was reported on the ABC Channel 7 out there uh, in, I'm going to get the city here, Riverside County. And it's really amazing what that they covered that. And the Orange County woman, she felt compelled to drive to Jupiter, Jupra, Jupiter Valley, I guess, to adopt this dog from the Riverside County animal shelters. And the video showed the man, who was also a Riverside County resident, picking up the dog and hurling him over a fence surrounding a cell phone tower. And the dog catches on the razor wire, but was unable, he did not get hurt. Thankful for that, because man, that razor wire, that's wicked. And we're just so happy that dog, that there was a compassionate person like that lady who came to the rescue of that dog, because, the dog is just like us. They want a home. And see, when it comes to your home, let me get on my soapbox here a little bit. When it comes to your home, that should be the place that you should be able to go to feel safe, secure, and to relax. Your home is your haven. And it just, it's wonderful to bring a dog in, because that dog knew right out of the gate that this lady was special. And one thing about dogs, you show them love, especially those that's been abandoned, and they latch on to you in a heartbeat. Donna went down to the ATM, got some more quarters and put in the machine, and she's back.
Silly.
Oh yeah. You know what? I got to give a plug here for my drink. I'm drinking a cup of I'm almost done with it. A cup of hot dandelion tea. For those of you that follow the show, you know the story about my heart attack, surgery, and all that stuff. But in my research, ladies and gentlemen, if you're suffering from any type, if you suffer from any type of physical ailment, heart, this stuff is like a tonic for the heart. Because coronary artery disease, that sort of thing, that's what takes out the grants. I guess we ain't sweet enough for cancer. I'm not complaining. But what I'm saying, that's hereditary in my family, and I had the widowmaker in my heart. So I'm very grateful that I did have the heart attack. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for the surgery, because it could have been a lot worse, obviously. But do your research on the dandelion, because it's a great plant. And several cardiologists, this is just kind of like a nicety to know, if I may add, several cardiologists have strayed away from the conventional medicines because of the side effects. And this one cardiologist he was revealing studies for decades on the advantages of dandelion. And he said, and I'm quoting, he says, think of the dandelion plant as being a repair kit for your heart. Do the research on it. And, Donna, I was kind of curious, so I did a real intensive research and search on search engines and all to see if dandelion could help you look younger and make you more handsome. And the reply I got, it answered that question very, very clearly. The reply was, Jim, there's not that many dandelions in the world. I tried, No, but really, check it out, folks, for your health and for your, it really is.
You were talking about, Jim, if I heard right when I came back in, about, animals that adopt us.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And we've had several cats who have just adopted us. Well, or I should say that have found their way to us, because somehow they knew that they would have a good home when they came into my home. And we had J-Man, who was a Bombay, and he was rather large in his heyday. I lost him in 2018 due to cancer. But in his heyday, he was about 25 pounds.
Wow.
And he would get up in the tree outside in the front yard, and you'd walk by and you'd look up and all you'd see, and he was obviously a big boy to begin with. I honestly think he was crossed with something else, because his whole body structure and his head structure was not of any cat I've ever known. And he was huge, but you would walk by and you'd kind of jump back because you'd see this big head, and he was sweet as sweet could be.
Oh yeah.
But it was something. So we had he was found and adopted, came to us. My daughter also found Simba, became my oldest cat, and that was absolutely brutal. This cat was an older guy when T found him. He had no front claws, so they declawed him, which I'm avidly against declawing a cat.
Yeah.
Like
they got to be able to defend themselves.
It's cutting off the finger. It's like cutting off your fingernails. That's essentially what it is. It's cutting off the tips of their fingers. But here's an older cat, and he had no front claws, and it wasn't snowing, but it was one of those early winters where it was just bitter cold for over a month. And this cat was so skinny, and he super hairy, but you could feel all his little ribs and everything. So T brought it home, and I'm like, I'm not going to keep another damn cat. I'm not doing it. I got enough.
Famous last words, may I add?
Absolutely. So yeah, there's Donna with 6 cats.
One on each hip.
Right? 6 cats, the dog, 3 kids, and one of their friends was living with us because he had no place to go. So Donna went and got him and, set him up. So he had a place, a shelter and food and warmth and love and a place to belong to. So you're right. Famous last words.
Yeah. And let me ask a question. I imagine if you packed them all up and went somewhere in a vehicle, you'd look like a modern day version of Noah's Ark.
Absolutely. It was
I can just picture all the animals in there,
Oh my gosh, it
Oh,
was
my
quite.
goodness. Yeah.
The house would be. It seemed to be always alive between all the kids and their friends, and then all of the animals. It seemed like it was just a constant, perpetual motion.
I remember a lady that was a customer where I worked at back in the 70s, and she had this little toy poodle. And she came in very frequently, and I'd asked her, I said, how is he doing? Oh, and she named the dog. I got to tell a little bit about the dog. The dog knew how to keep her entertained. And he was getting all kind of mischief. And early on, she named the dog Lucifer because that just fit his personality at one side and down the other. And I'd say, how's that Lucifer doing? Oh, that Lucifer, I'm telling you, is going to drive me crazy. And she'd go into all these stories. And we'd both just, crack up because she was a fantastic storyteller. Oh, my. And I never get a chance to meet Lucifer, but I'll tell you right now, that little boy sounded like he was heck on wheels, you might say.
My son and daughter-in-law have a cat named Lucifer, and they call him Louie for short. And he's a Bombay, and he's got an owner, this one, and it's Sarah, and he tolerates everybody else.
That's a good way of putting it. That's a good way of putting it.
And if he's not in a tolerant mood, let's just say Lucifer shows himself.
He's not afraid to express how he feels, is what you're saying.
No. Yeah, and he's quick about it, too. He's right quick about it. So we had a cat one time that we found us and we adopted. and his name was Milo, and he was
Mhm.
a Russian blue, like my Niner is, and he was not neutered, and he was a great cat, and I couldn't keep him in the house because he wasn't neutered, and when he would go to the restroom, it was quite ripe. When male cats are neutered and they urinate, it's very, very strong odor.
Mm.
And you know, even in the cat box in the house, it was just the smell
Mm.
was beyond what I could tolerate. And that's with
Mm.
cleaning it right away and everything. So he
Mm.
was an outside cat, but that cat had such personality, and I don't know where
Mm.
he came.
Mhm.
And he would be gone for 2 or 3 days at a time, and it would scare me to death. And he would come home, but he would play with the kids out in the snow. I
Mhm.
remember one year we had a ton of snow in Ohio. And so I built the kids uh, a little Eskimo house, right?
Igloo. Igloo.
Little igloo, right? So
Mhm.
I built it, and I mean, I got the water and I packed that snow down. So that sucker was there for the duration, right? And that cat would get up on top of it. And I remember my kids would be inside of it, and they were pretty little. And so here they are in this igloo, and they're all like, you know, little kids will do ooh and having their, you know, their grand time. And that cat's on the top of it and takes his head and looks down at him, right? Kind of upside
Mhm.
down. Another time he decided the kids weren't in it, and I went out to get the mail or something, and that cat was just sitting in the igloo like he owned the place.
Mm. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And
It's part of his
he,
territory.
yeah, he was such a good cat. And, you know, to have
Mm.
one that came off the street that you know nothing about, like
Mhm.
literally zero, and to be never mean, never scratched us, always loving. Um,
Mhm.
and literally until and he knew what he had a good life while he was with us.
Mhm.
um I had to have him put down. He got feline AIDS, and so
Mm.
I had to have him put down because he was in obviously horrible pain.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And I remember when I had him in a cage, you know, a cat carrier, and I had the kids say goodbye to him, but he was
Hmm.
it manifests just like it does on people. And
Mm.
so he has the sore spots and stuff on him. And so,
Bless
you
his
know,
heart.
right, we couldn't pull him out of the cage to, you know, say goodbye to him because he was obviously um, pretty fragile at that point of in
Sure.
high pain.
Too
And, you
painful.
know, right. And cats have a higher pain tolerance than dogs do. Did you know that,
Oh,
Jim?
oh yeah, they got a higher. I'm think I'm the lowest animal on planet Earth comes to pain,
Dogs have a
pain
higher
tolerance.
pain tolerance than we do, and cats have a higher pain
Yeah,
tolerance than dogs. So,
and I'll tell you
anyway,
something
so
about dogs too. In that regard, Don, is that like when my sidekick for 10 years range when he came down with pneumonia, we didn't know it. He was just really sick, and
right,
within 48 hours he was gone because
yeah,
animals have that way of masking that. And goodness, and he was, he was continuing to, doing what he always did, and but yeah, they're very good at, in the pain tolerance, that sort of thing, and also hiding what's going on in them. Where we're
you have,
always walk around, oh, groaning,
yeah.
moaning and groaning.
I'm very, very after having had my animals for so many years.
Hmm.
I'm probably hyper vigilant, I guess, in watching my animals for even the most minute difference in their behavior.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
And I'll tell my husband about it, and it's a big running joke because the cats sleep with me on my side of the
Oh yeah.
bed, and it's nothing for me to be, you know, in bed, and he'll get up and get ready for work, and he said it's, you know, the dog's at the foot of the bed on my side, and then there's cats all wrapped around my body. He's like, you know, you are so completely protected by animals.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's an edgy poor guy. He has to sleep in a cat house, and then he's got
Yes,
to,
he does.
yeah. And he feels very grateful that they leave him a little space over on the other side.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
How's that you been doing lately? You hadn't talked about him
He's
much.
Oh, he's doing wonderful. He is
Hmm.
doing just wonderful. We
He's a hard-working man.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. He's just amazing. We're still in the
Hmm.
process of getting stuff done around our house, and
Hmm.
I'm always amazed at the stuff I learned from him, Jim.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Because that's what he does for a living. I mean, he can do anything around the house. What does he normally do? In his profession there, is he plumber or
Uh,
is he?
he would be
He's a. He's,
considered. So he works for a company that builds custom homes,
mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
so out in like desert mountain area, carefree,
Oh
and
yeah,
yeah, and
high dollar stuff.
very high dollar. And
Yeah.
so he's second in command under the owner. And
Mm-hmm.
so there's nothing that this man can't do. He is truly
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. Something needs to be done. He just hops in there and gets it
Mm,
done. I mean, he don't.
yep.
Yeah, that's a valuable asset for that owner to have, that builder to have. My goodness.
Well, we look at it. We've talked about it. We look at it like this. We're lucky because if I've got a sink that backs up, he can fix it. But on the other hand, if he's got a craving for apple pie or whatever it is, whether I can cook it or bake it, he gets it. So we're even.
Hmm. I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. That's really nice. This one story here. It's kind of funny. It's about a snake. Okay. Now picture this. This lady is talking about, hearing a scary noise at night, and unfortunately, she says she had watched the movie Silence of the Lambs, and that night she gets in the bed, she turns off the light, she's in the dark, and all of a sudden she says, I'm in my bed in the dark, alone in my room, and I hear a cough. Imagine how she felt. And that's the way our minds work. There's somebody in the room, right?
Right.
And she laid in her bed wondering where the noise was coming from, if there was a serial killer in her room or in her house. And she was just about to her imagination was just about going nuts on her. And then she heard the cough again. So now she knows there's something or someone creating that. And so after, investigating, she found out she had a ball python snake that she kept. And what was happening with the ball python snake, there was something about the skin. So it was trying to fit into her hide that could no longer accommodate the wider girth. And the coughing was her scooting it around and trying to fit herself back into it. And I can't
Mhm.
visualize that, but you laugh at me about the story about the person. I thought someone was trying to break into my home.
Oh,
I
the
was home
possums.
alone, and it was armadillos, and
Oh, that's right. That's right.
yeah, and Evie was out in Tucson with her mother, and because her mother was recovering from a second stroke, and I said, just stay there with your mom, take care of her, and because insurance only goes so far in stroke victims, when she's, gosh, at that time she was 87 or something like that, 86, and
Right.
anyway, uh, so I'm home. I'm home here in Texas by myself, and I woke up about 2:30 in the morning, and it sounded just like, ladies and gentlemen, it sounded just like someone was taking a knife. We had these old screen doors, aluminum screen doors on there, those storm doors, and it sounded like someone was cutting the screen with a knife. And it was kind of loud, so I woke up and I thought, oh my gosh, that's what your mind tells you at times like that. Your mind will run riot with you.
Right.
And I'm thinking, whoever's doing that, either one or two things. They don't think anyone's home or they're amped up on drugs because I live out in the country on 8.5 acres. So I get up, and my heart's pumping, like like crazy because I'm scared. I'll be honest, because now I got a definite threat, and it's got to be a bad person. So I get my weapon, you might say, and I go up the hallway there. Fortunately, I got good night vision. And of course, I know the house very well. I didn't need to turn on any lights. I wasn't going to. And I go through the living room, in through the kitchen, and into the laundry room. And that door at the laundry room, that's where it was. And sure enough, I'm thinking, my goodness, he's still sawing at that thing. And so I got to face this. I'm not backing down. Okay. I may be one thing I learned about Nam, I may not be real smart, but I don't make a good coward, but I got to face this. I'm not backing down. And so I slowly opened up, unlocked the deadbolt, unlatched the door, kicked on the light, yanked the door open, and I'm ready. But there's no one there. But the noise is still there. And I look down, and here's this little armadillo. There was two of them in the yard, but this one was up there. And his little claws just going down that screen door. Man, I bumped him to the door. Get out of here, because I'm not going to go out there and start blowing armadillos away at 2:30 in the morning or something. And the next day, she called me, and I told her about the incident. She says, "Oh, Jim, I bet they were so cute." It's like, I got to be honest with you. The word "cute" never entered my mind. I mean, I was so scared about Lazy. When I went back to bed, it took me a little while to wind down because my heart, the adrenaline was going, because that's what our minds do to us at times like that.
Absolutely.
And if I hear a noise at night, I just can't lay there and pretend it's not anything. I got to get up and, find out what's going on. I can't lay there and just drift away. And
it's so
Evie's
funny.
told me several. Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, Evie's told me several times, Jim, just come on back to bed. It ain't nothing. I'll come back to bed when I'm ready. When I know that I know that I know that I know.
Being a single mom for so many years, anything that obviously went down in the house, I was there to take care of, right? Mm-hmm. And even now is so ingrained in me, and it makes my husband just shake his head and go, "Really, Donna?" Because we'll hear a noise, and I'll get up and head for the front door, and he'll come up behind me, and I can't help it. It's just habit. You know how you hold your kids back behind you, trying to push them back? I know.
I got to visualize that one. I just got to visualize that one.
I do that to Edgy, and he'll be like, "Really, Donna? Do I need your protection?" I'm like, "Habit, and you might. I don't know."
Because Donna's armed and dangerous. Oh my goodness.
Well, if you know me, Jim, you laugh, but you know that's true.
I know. Yeah. Yeah, she really, Donna's a mother hen to her family and her friends. She really is. It's just a protective nature. It's because she loves her family and friends, and that's just who she is. And if you want to get on the bad side of her, mess with any of her family or friends, and we're talking war.
Yeah.
And we're talking taking no prisoners. We're not going to keep them and count them. We're just going to do away with them. I'm joking, of course, But that's it's important for. What if everyone stuck up for their family and friends like that? Love them that much. My goodness, we're out of time, Donna.
We are. But we're going to be back tomorrow, Jim.
Hot dog. I'm looking forward to that. We're going to be talking about, women in leadership.
Yes.
And that's why Donna held back Edgy, because she's leading the way.
I'll tell him that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Tell them that's the proper pecking order around here, brother. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in and being with us today. We sincerely appreciate it. We want to, thank all of you good folks around the world for keeping our show popular. Our numbers are continuing to increase, and it means a lot to us. It really does. And we're very excited. We're going to be rolling out a program real soon for social media. We're very, very excited about that, and we're going to share more about that as we go on. But again, most importantly, thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure and remember, you have the right to be loved. You have the right to love yourself. You have the right to forgive yourself. As Donna likes to say, you have the right to give yourself
grace.
Amen. Amen. And be sure and share our show with others. And thank you again. And on behalf of Donna and myself, we sincerely hope that you and your loved ones are healthy, happy, and blessed in all the areas of your life. We'll see you tomorrow now. Bye-bye.
Bye bye, folks.